pylon as those two lights there shine on that particular piece. So for right now, I'm I'm thrilled. The placement works really nice. The coloring works really nice. So you know, for that matter, we're going to work through what we've got here from a lighting perspective. But I wanted to just mock that up first, and then we'll come back to the progress. So that is the nacelle, and the nacelle lights up really nice. I've got my blinker that's going to be a double blink here. This is a kind of a cool Raytheon effect as you come in from the top. And then also you've got, this is going to be clear. You can see I've got some gaps to fill, but I wanted to just basically show you that as a start to some of the progress that I've made there. So that is the nacelle. The other one is also the same thing. I've got the two lights there. They're going to shine down the outside, and we'll come back to that. And all that wiring does fit inside the hull there, but so that's the nacelle, and we'll let that one drop as it sits. Take a look here at the secondary hull, or the engineering hull, your choice there, which name you prefer. But this is probably the simplest of them all. And I'll tell you, this has been I've ripped the wiring out of both of the hulls, primary hull, and one of the nacelles, and I've just had a terrible luck with something we'll discuss here in a minute. But now you can see we've got lights that are working here on the neck, lights that are working on the side, and it's going to provide lots of light coming out of the shuttle bay. And I've got a blue light here for the front deflector. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I'm really pleased with the amount of light that's coming through there. And I think that is going to look fantastic from a lighting perspective. So that is the secondary hull and the first nacelle, and I can put that to the side. Second nacelle, grab that here real quickly. Kind of the same thing. So what we've got is the wiring for the three circuits that are in this particular nacelle, and both of them actually. There's going to be three circuits. So the one circuit is for the double blink anti-collision lights, and another circuit is for, you'll have to forgive me folks while I kind of mock this up here real quickly and spin these around so at least it maybe has a shot at lighting up. We'll see. Alright, so one circuit is for the anti-collision light, one circuit is for the warp engines, nacelles proper, and one is for the spotlights. And my intention is to have the spotlights on the entire ship on its own individual circuit. So there's going to be some on the top, some on the bottom, and then some on the nacelles. And hopefully when I hit that switch it lights up and would essentially be an external light on that. But again, the same thing here, showing you that we've got, here's my favorite pointer, so I'm going to move to that. So here's my Raytheon effect coming through on that nacelle point there, and then here is on the clear piece that I'm going to leave clear. I'll mask over both of those. Now that one's been painted and I want this to retain clear. This needs a little bit of gap fill here, and of course gap fill across there, as you can see coming through. But I'm really excited about the way that this has turned out around the bottom, the way this has turned out here around this window effect, if you will. That looks pretty nice. And then here again are the lights that are going to shine down the exterior of that nacelle pylon, and that's going to look really good. And I'm kind of pleased with the way that these have turned out, although I do have to do some light blocking and fill in some pieces there on those stripes. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that is that's the other nacelle, and so that's a twin in reverse to the other one, and of course they're still taped off, and we're off and running there. On the bottom of the hull, I'm sorry, this is the this is the bottom. I essentially ripped everything out of this because we've got, again, 4 circuits here in the hull. And again, sorry for the wire tangle, but we're trying to pull this all together and have it look at least somewhat manageable. And I guess I should have kind of pre-wired these prior to the show, but I didn't. But at least they're kind of separated now. Essentially what we've got here is we've got 4 circuits, and do a little bit of live work here as I strip these wires so that we can hook it up a little bit. That one's good, that one's good. Okay. So on the 4 circuits that we have in here, one is for the spotlights on the bottom of the hull, which are going to go around the sensor dome. One of the circuits is for the impulse engine by itself, and that's kind of a fun little circuit there, and it looks pretty nice. And then the third circuit is for the lights themselves. That's the interior lights that'll light up all the windows and hopefully light up the bridge under the main dome. And I haven't even checked that yet, but we'll have to see how that comes together. And we'll do kind of the same thing here. We'll look to see if we've got these all stripped. That one is, that one is. And again, I apologize for the mock-up here, but that's kind of the way that we're pulling all this together. And that one right there. Last wire. See how we do. Oh, we got some power. Yeah. Alright, so, oh, and look at that, everything works. I had been using these Bowful, B-O-W-F-U-L SMDs. They're individually wired SMDs. Bowful rhymes with awful, and that's for sure. What they look like is they come in a bag. These are orange, and every time I used one of these bad boys, it would burn out or it would stop working after a few hours. Even with their supplied resistor and just running it a single unit, it would puke on me. And so I actually thought maybe it was my wiring, which it still could be, but I don't think so. Anyway, those are terrible. Not pleased with them at all, and that is what I had here in the bottom of the hull in those 3 sections right there. Those I pulled, and I used my little tiny SMDs that look like this instead, which are super small, but they do the job, and they're super bright, as you can see from the green, the blue, or green, the red, and the yellow that are there. So again, full sloppy mode here, people, because I'm trying to move fast and get this done tonight. Not done tonight, get this update completed. So the switch that is here is actually going to be the interior lighting, and you can see that in the windows, I think. You know, so what you're going to see is that window there is going to be lit up super bright. All of them are, because they've got lights in front of them. These 4 lights here are on the switch for the lights. So when I hit that light switch, that'll send an image forward and back, and this will light up the neck really nice, I hope. And then, of course, there's a switch for the nav lights here, and then finally the circuit for the impulse engine, and that looks great. It's diffused, and once I get some white over that piece of photo etch, that'll look fantastic. So all the rewiring I did, again, 2 steps forward, 1 step back frequently on that, has gone a long, long way. And then finally we come to the other nightmare, and again I redid these over and over and over again, and you probably see why with all the different lighting problems here, but essentially this is going to have the same thing now that the lights are in. Let's see if everything lights up there. Looks like I've got decent color are light blocking going on throughout, and all of my lights work on the top. Now, so what this is going to have for circuits, again, the nav lights. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nav lights on here on top of this. There is a circuit for the 5, actually I have 7 anti-collision lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, I added these 2 here on the end, and that was my bad. I didn't think that, I thought it was going to look cool, and I think it still will. But I did screw up, and it's part of the circuit, and I'm not pulling these lights out again. This light here in the films blinks at the rate of the nav lights, and I would change it, but it's part of this long circuit that goes around, and I just don't feel like doing that. So it's going to double blink. These 4 here, and these 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4 lights are for the registry and for the name, the Enterprise. And boy, are they bright, and they're shining the right direction. We'll see if I can maintain that through some clever liquid mask, and then pull those off and still have them light up as bright. But those look great as far as shining light in the right direction. These here on the sides, they do shine light, and but there's so much of it here. These are going to be wired into the spotlight switch as well. So I'll have the pylons, I'll have the lights on the bottom, and these on the top that are a switch for external illumination of lighting this up. And then of course the navs are going to blink at one rate, and the anti-collisions are going to blink at another. So that is progress, and I've let these burn in now for over 48 or almost 50 hours. Because I was tired of them having burn out and cause so much grief that they just weren't working. So the next, let me set up a little more, and then I'll come back to you, and we will continue on with the second half of the update on the USS Enterprise for JJ Prize. I'll be right back. Okay, hey, welcome back to the second half of update number 3 on the USS Enterprise NCC 1701, the JJ Prize. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my heartfelt apology to one Jerry at HDA Model Works. In the previous update, I emphatically stated that his decals for the shuttle bay were not water slide. And then when I tried to do the very first one, which was this one right here, I ran into severe difficulties. I had to pull this photo etch piece apart, and I had to work through a bunch of different pieces and so forth, because and what I was left with is stuff that just I'm not thrilled with the way it turned out, because I just glued, all I did was glue his paper down to this particular piece. So I had purchased the green strawberry photo etch set as well, and I'm going to use this photo etch on the deflector dish, and I'm going to use like some of the ports that are in here, and a couple other pieces that I can find. I don't think I'm going to use the bridge, because the bridge is already in, and I'm fine with that. So, but I folded up, or I actually painted up the shuttle bay, and then I gave Jerry's decals another chance. I gave another chance to set that up, and what I did is I used hotter water this time, a little bit different soap, and I let them soak for a longer period of time. And also at the same time, what I did is I took my scalpel and carefully worked out from underneath there the actual, I separated the paper from the decal, and it worked out pretty nice. I have to give Jerry credit. They were hard to work with, but they actually worked pretty well, and I think that's going to look really good. So underneath here, I'm going to add a piece of plastic, a real thin piece of styrene, shoot a light at it, and that should transfer all the way down and light that up in the back of the model. Plus we're good to go there, and right now I'm working on gluing up the actual shells that'll fit in there, and that's a bit of a fiddly work to pull that together, but it will work, and it will come together, and I will have a working shuttle bay that has the decals to it. I think it looks pretty nice, and for the most part I do offer my heartfelt apologies to Jerry at HDA Model Works to say thank you for providing them and keep up the good work. It was just simply a matter of my impatience and not working through that. On the front of the ship, on the secondary hull, here is the assembly for the deflector dish, and I showed you a blue light in the hull, but essentially this is going to light that up, both the piece behind it and the actual deflector dish. And what I'm really interested in is lighting up this edge of the deflector dish with blue, and I think that's going to look good because I'm going to paint the deflector dish photo etch black and then paste it down in here. And I think what you'll see is that'll be the ridges or the grain will be lit up blue, and then black on the other piece. Rather than taping that off, it's just the photo etch I think is going to do the job a little better for all of us. At least ease of assembly and ease of putting it together for me is what I'm shooting for. But that's the deflector dish and the front housing for that. Also, as a secondary part, here is the back of the main bridge, and this will get a piece of glass that goes in here, and that blue light, and I didn't show it to you, but it was lit up. Blue light for the back of the impulse crystal will be lit up. So I've got some circuits to build, and I've got some very cool switches I'm going to work with this time, both from a switch perspective, and I think you've seen those before, and I also got some new switches that are my momentary switches that are much smaller. Here's the current model that I've been using, and they're nice, but they're so large compared to these smaller switches that I ordered a different batch of them, and I'll have to find them. I don't have them ready at the moment, but I'll find those and pull them together, and then we'll make progress. As I mentioned before, there are the shuttles that go into the shuttle bay, and I haven't even started on those, but they're going to look very, very sharp parked inside that shuttle bay and in a different color. This looks good here, and for the most part I'm now hopefully back on track. All the wiring per piece is done, and I just have to start. Next step is to wire the hull together, clamshell it, and then glue it, and once the clamshell is in, I can kind of manage those wires a little better, and then start the paint process on the hull, start the paint process on the nacelles, and then once those are done, the hard part is going to be the secondary hull and that cap that goes over it. But thankfully back on track. Thanks for watching all of this headache and all the setbacks that I went through, because they were a myriad, and they were challenging. But for right now, I think I'm back on track with moving the model ahead. I almost gave up, but instead I ripped all the wiring out, rewired it on the inside, especially on the hull sections. I just could not figure out what was going on with those bowful or bowful types of lights. And I have a whole new batch of the ones that work really well. They're a little bit larger. They're coming in tomorrow, so that will help on the next model, which is going to be exciting. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet on what that is, but it's definitely going to be a neat and fun model to go through. So with that, I'm going to show us the nacelle one more time, just to get my own little sense of self-satisfaction there that actually has worked. And so the next step, again, that light lights up nice. I've got a nice blink rate on the front nacelle. Again, that's my own device with just pure wiring. I got to do some light blocking with some black paint there, but that still has come along pretty good. And then this gets a blue, or I'm sorry, this gets a clear glass piece in here. The back of the nacelle looks really nice, and again, more putty work to do. I think that gets filled actually, and then I've got to fill in the other piece. There's some gaps here and a gap definitely along there, and I did a little bit of preliminary sanding already, you can see, to bring this nacelle into shape. And I really like those spots that are going to shine down onto the pylon, so those are going to light up really nice. This needs to be painted black, and I think that's kind of a big challenge for taping and doing that. The next step, of course, is Lou's mask, and thank you, Lou, for providing those, or at least having them available. I was able to purchase those through one of his vendors, and we'll work on getting this masked up and start some painting, probably sometime toward the later of the week. But for now, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for a little bit of a disjointed viewing here of this particular model this time. I've been under a panic just to recover from all of these setbacks, but I think I'm doing much better now as far as pulling this together. And you know, the next step is actually to clean up, and now that the wiring's done, clean up, put the saucer together, and then start that painting on the saucer. So kind of excited about how that's going to come in. Don't know yet, but we'll see. I've got nice colors, I think, and we'll talk about that when we get to the paint process. So until the meantime, this is the Sloppy Modeler saying thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Share it if you want, but this is my progress on the USS Enterprise, the JJ Prize NCC 1701 Enterprise, and from Star Trek. And we will hope you go out and enjoy building something. I am, even including with the setbacks, but this is what modeling's all about, is overcoming those challenges and hopefully bringing something to fruition that you like when it's all said and done. All right, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.